What's going to be more on fire? Lane Kiffin's comments about why Ole Miss was left out of the college football playoff, or the Rebels offense when they take on Duke in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. Let's break it on down and welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. And today we talk Rebels versus Blue Devils down in Jacksonville. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification, and of course, subscribe to the channel because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials. The link is in the description. Follow Dave at Mach 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. This preview is brought to you by our friends over at MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code SECU at sign up to receive a special welcome offer with your first deposit. Make sure that you go ahead and bet on every single SEC game. And when you do so, go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code SECU. Tell the fine folks at SEC Unfiltered sent you. Dave, kickoff January 2nd, 6:30. Game is going to be nationally televised on ESPN at Everbank Stadium, where the Jacksonville Jaguars and the world's largest outdoor cocktail party call home. 14.5 spread in favor of the Rebels against a Duke team that really impressed under first-year coach Manny Diaz. But Darian Mensah, the breakout star for Tulane, who just committed to Durham, North Carolina, not playing in this game. Neither is Malik Murphy. Neither are a lot of players because they've already entered the transfer portal. Neither is Andrew Anthony, who's coming on in next year. But you know who is playing? A lot of Rebels. They want to gloat and they want to brag that they finished with 10-plus wins for the second consecutive year.
Not only that, Bear, I've been in the old TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. The SEC team, hey, Ole Miss, do not, if there are any golf fans on the Rebel football team or the athletics department, which I'm sure there are, they stay at TPC Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra. So you get to stay where they play the tournament. Phenomenal. You get to go play the 17th, whatever hole it is. Again, I'm not the biggest golf. I love playing golf. I don't keep up with it that well. Whatever the 13th, 17th hole that is out there. Fun opportunity there. So one of the best SEC hotel rooms. That'll be good there. I know, random off topic. But Duke, I talked to a lot of people in the offseason. They thought they were going to maybe start 5-0 and then lose 7 straight with the way the schedule. But give Manny Diaz and the boys credit. First year taking over Mike Elko. Kept the train on the tracks. Kept the momentum going there. But you're right, Bear. Two things can be true at once. Phenomenal year for the Dukies in year one for Manny Diaz. But at the same time, they're going to be going against an Ole Miss team that it seems like a lot of people are committed to playing this bowl game. Again, I think Ole Miss, Walker Jones didn't do a phenomenal job. Why Ole Miss's players play in these bowl games? They put it in their contracts that they have to pay, that they won't get their last month of pay from NIL. So phenomenal structure playing there. So you can keep this, like you said, Bear, we talked about Missouri a little bit. We talked about South Carolina in the same light. Getting that 10 wins, so I know it's different. It seems like playoff or bust in college football now, but it is. If Ole Miss can go get that back-to-back 10-win season, that's a big deal. They haven't done that a lot in their program. That's not a slight. It's just a fact. So I still think there's a lot to play for there. And it's an outmanned Duke team as well. So let's call a spade a spade.
The other thing that we got to talk about, just simply put, this is a matchup I don't think has ever been played before. Duke and Ole Miss have never met on the football field, despite David Cutcliffe coaching at both schools, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure they've actually never played if you look at Wikipedia. But the other thing is that Lane Kiffin wants to have a reason to talk. Lane Kiffin wants to have a reason to make sure that he throws it back in Jim Phillips' face. Because
Danny Cannell, he gets into spats with him.
Because so many people that wanted to believe that the ACC was worthy of having two teams go to the college football playoff. And I'm not defending Ole Miss for losing to Kentucky or losing to Florida down the stretch. Do your job. You're in the playoff. And it was a down year in terms of what should have been a promising potential year, especially with the last dance mantra. But there are people inside this building that just want to make sure that Lane is talking mad smack going into the offseason. So guess what? You have players opting on in. Jaxson Dart's playing in this game. Walter Nolan's playing in this game. Jordan Watkins is playing in this game. Trey Harris isn't, but this is an opportunity for a younger player like Caden Lee to prove why he is the future in Oxford as the go-to wide receiver. This is an opportunity for multiple offensive linemen to take that next step forward. We get to build this now Rebel wall of dominance moving forward. We get to feel like that we have a good secondary built underneath a guy in Pete Golding, who's been developing these talents now for 2 years. You got a lot of names that are not leaving. They want to see the fruits of their labor be accomplished, which I think speaks volume. One thing that I'm going to be watching for this game, how can you establish the run? Because I know that we didn't see a breakout 1,000-yard Quinshon Judkins replacement, but something that I talked about a lot throughout the offseason and a lot throughout this year. They found a way to match quality with quantity. Like Ole Miss went out and brought in every single running back under the sun that could have been starting elsewhere in the SEC. They could have gone to Kentucky. They could have gone to Mississippi State. Rashad Amos at one point was committed to Mississippi State before he went to Ole Miss. They just wanted to bring in every single name to match what was going to be lost by number 4 from Pike Road, Alabama when he left. Can you still have that opportunity? Because the thing about Lane Kiffin's offense that people never seem to pay attention to because they look at the passing numbers, they are a run-oriented team. When they run the football, they are hard to break down because of the passing attack has the weapons and the quarterback that is going to slice and dice and pick you apart. If they can establish the run against a very solid front seven in the ACC, I think that this is going to be able to set the tone, and eventually it's going to capitalize, and they're just going to be able to take off and go off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ole Miss should win on both sides of the line of scrimmage here. They've one opt-out of the entire – it's Chris Poop Hall, who's a good player, but he's opting out for whatever reason. I guess he doesn't want his last month's pay. But – yeah, this game to me, again, I told you off air before we even recorded this. Like, this is the most confident game I'm in an SEC bowl game right here. Just almost close second was Ohio State, Tennessee. But I'm going to go this one right here just because if Ole Miss was playing, I mean, even if Austin Simmons is playing, I just think Duke with their third-string quarterback in Braylon is just dude, no. And like you said, Lane Kiffin is pissed the ACC got 2 teams in. He wants to embarrass them, and I think he will have an opportunity to get this done. I don't see really any matchup advantages for Duke in this.
Do I see any matchup advantages? No, but do I see an opportunity where Duke is still looking for 10 wins? Because think about it. They haven't had a 10-win season since 2013. I mean, they haven't had one in over a decade. And this is a coach that was, for my money, vastly snubbed when he was at Miami. And the only reason why he got dumped was because the prettier girl broke up with her boyfriend and they brought back the pride of South Beach. But he reinvented himself when he was at Penn State as the defense coordinator, a defense that once again finished top 10 in every metric, came on in, had very good success in year one, continuing the tradition that has been established by another great defensive mind in Mike Elko, and they want to get 10 wins. So I think they're going to be prepared for this game. It doesn't mean they're going to match up extremely well. Jaxson Dart's storyline is going to be one to monitor because he has an opportunity to put up another record-setting performance and guarantee his spot in the history books as maybe not the only great quarterback to come through Ole Miss, but certainly right alongside Archie, right alongside Eli, right alongside, you could even say, surpassing Bo Wallace, surpassing Chad Kelly, surpassing some of the names that in recent memory have caught flame like Matt Corral. He's already outgained them in the record books, but still another double-digit win season, another year that you get to hang your hat on and say, we're going to finish ranked inside the top 12. I think he's going to go off because this is another opportunity for him to show off to NFL scouts, hey, my game, it's really good in this system. It can also translate from the Saturday level to the Sunday level.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come to Ole Miss just motivated in this game to get to that 10th win. And I think, again, this is their last game. They've all opted in to play this game. I don't think this will be a distracted Ole Miss team at all. And any chance Lane Kiffin gets to run up the score, he is in this one.
When you and I do previews together, we love to break down certain players that we're monitoring. I'll let you go first. Who's somebody that you're watching from Ole Miss?
For Ole Miss, dude, I'm gonna say it's the low-hanging fruit one, man. Just because, like, in today's college football, you appreciate, and I know he transferred one time, but I'm gonna say Jaxson Dart. It's his last game. You mentioned it, Bear. He's gonna be considered an all-time great Ole Miss player who played for 3 seasons. You don't see that a lot in today's college football. I mean, he's really vocal in public about how much he loves the city of Oxford and how it's embraced him. He seems like a good kid. I love his relationship. The evolution of his relationship with Lane Kiffin, where they didn't get along at first. The dad and Lane Kiffin didn't get along. Jaxson and him didn't. Tried to replace him with Spencer Sanders. That ended up only making the relationship stronger. You feel good about Jaxson Dart. You want to see him go out on the right footing to end it. They should. I just expect – I'm with you. I think he's going to have a big game. And I know it's the low-hanging fruit one, but I see so many advantages for Ole Miss in this one. I could pick a lot of different positions where I think they can win this. But I'm going to go with the guy who's stuck around the program in 2 out of the last 3 years, really good seasons, obviously, for Ole Miss. I'm going to go Jaxson Dart, man. Get his last win in an Ole Miss Rebel uniform.
He needs to have, I think, a very solid game just to better his draft stock, but his legacy is secure in Oxford. I mean, he's going to have potentially 2 10-win seasons. He's also going to have a year where they went to a bowl game. Now, they didn't look good in the bowl game in the Texas Bowl, but still, they went to a bowl game. He also is going to have the most passing yards I mean, the most passed touchdowns all time. He's going to have almost every single record. If he's not number one, he's top 3. I want to see him go on. I want to see Caden Lee take that next step forward because he is sticking behind next year. He had a really good year stepping on up on multiple occasions for Trey Harris, for Jordan Watkins. He became a vital piece of the offense in a year that you didn't think that he was going to be utilized because Juice Walls came on in. He really ended up becoming that third option. And I think that next year, knowing that you have some younger options coming on in, but guys that could be difference makers the way that Jordan Watkins and Trey Harris were, he wants to guarantee I was properly developed. I bought into the program before the portal king decided to take on over. I believed in the vision of what was here. I want to keep it going. I don't want to believe for one second that we were a last dance type of feel. We were a new era of Rebel football that is sustainable. We're a team that's going to make it to the college football playoff. We're a team that continuously is going to portal on in pieces that are going to be built around me, and I'm going to be that guy. I want to see him be what Trey Harris showed you in that Mercer game 2 years ago with the 4 touchdowns, and he said, I was always good enough. You just need to give me a shot. Put me in the right offensive system. Put me in a formation to where I know that I am going to best be utilized. Watch me take flight. Because you watched him this year. When he worked the intermediate routes, he immediately was a difference maker. And he was a nightmare at times, whether it was on the outside of the Z position, at the flanker position, in the slot. He was just taking those low-hanging passes and turning upfield for first down gains. Whether it be with work, and I also want to see him work with Austin Simmons. Like, let's say they're up by 38. I still want to see him out on the field because I want to see that relationship start to blossom because we know that going into next year, whether they add in another quarterback, Simmons is going to be a guy that you can buy hope into.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good prediction as well. Let Jaxson Dart have his curtain call.
Oh, for sure. Let him have his curtain call. All right, let's go ahead and break this on down. 14.5-point swing. Dave, I'll let you go first. Who you got winning? I think you know who you have winning. Why?
Yeah, if you couldn't take any, I think Ole Miss big, dude, just because I think they have all their players playing. Again, the only guy that's missing is Chris Paul at the inside linebacker position. I think they're going to be motivated. I think Lane Kiffin's going to want it. He's going to hammer home, guys, 10 wins. I know we didn't reach the ultimate goal, but 10 wins in a program like this for you guys that have been in the program multiple years, that'll cement your legacy. Duke, they're down a bunch of guys right now, man. Like, the portals killed them, especially at the quarterback spot. Their first two quarterbacks, Malik Murphy and who's the other kid? I forget that they've all entered the portal. So now they're playing the Breland kid. I just see I see no advantage for Duke in this one. I think Ole Miss wins this one. Give me 44-10.
You're going big. You are fully in. Yeah, I'm gonna go big too. I mean, it's a low hanging fruit. I think that Duke is a really good story. I think of the fact that they were able to get to nine wins. They took SMU, a college football playoff team, to overtime. I mean, they were a couple of plays away from being a dark horse to go to Charlotte in year one. That's a lot to be proud of, and I think it's sustainable because a place like Duke, a private institution, now that you know that there is a recipe for success, you can have boosters buy on in. They can start bringing in the money and the funds for NIL to not only keep players from leaving in the portal, but bringing in names that never would consider Durham Duke football to begin with. But it's Lane Kiffin, and he's pissed off. And he's been nonstop on Twitter. As of tonight, when we are recording, December 22nd, he has been silent for most of the day. But on the playoff, all he was doing was griping. Whenever it was Indiana, whenever it was SMU, he even had some chuckles about Clemson. Because Clemson lost to South Carolina. The ACC champion went 0-3 against the SEC. He's not handling the fact that Jim Phillips got his way and 2 teams were in. And he's going to turn it into motivation fuel. And he's going to tell Jaxson Dart, I want you to break Eli Manning's records. I want you to become the all-time leading passer. Because if I want to be able to look at Jim Phillips and say, this is why you are a one college football playoff team league. The defense, I think, is going to corral Duke into making mistakes. I think that this offensive performance is going to be second to none. I think that you're going to see some haymakers downfield. I think that you're going to see Jaxson Dart just uncork it to begin the game. And if you go back and you watch the way that Ohio State was able to manhandle in the first half, this Tennessee team, it's going to be a lot like that, where maybe you'll see a late touchdown in the second quarter, and Duke starts to gain some momentum. And then here comes the third quarter, lights out, Go ahead. Let's start fast forwarding through this. We'll be talking about what does the future look like at Duke? What does the future look like at Ole Miss? Nobody's going to be paying attention to the game. You can flip the channel on over to whatever else is on HBO or whatnot. You can go ahead and turn on the NBA. No one's going to care. It's going to be a 44-13 game. I'm right alongside you. I think this is a blowout. I think this is a matchup that is just going to be an undermining because of what happened with the playoff committee. And Lane Kiffin secures another 10-win season, his third in 5 years. And Jaxson Dart goes out on top, a champion, which, to be fair, that's a lot to be proud about in Oxford. May not be the season that you wanted, but it still is the season that you probably earned with 10 wins.
Yeah, even Ole Miss's depth, we've talked about all year, is definitely improved from their portal addition. So even if they had a couple more opt-outs, I'd still like them big. But with them only having one, it's a no-brainer to me.
Let us know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this game? Does Duke make this a 4-quarter battle? Does Ole Miss just punch their ticket to beating Jim Phillips' ass in the ACC? Like, review, make sure you hit subscribe. Follow us on the social channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Mock 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate, I'm Cole Thompson. Howdy toddy, Rebels. We believe you're going to win one more game in 2024. Peace.